line right now, we do have a man. A manly man who's running for sheriff, Terry Frederick. And I've met Terry on a lot of different occasions, and I knew that he was throwing it. He's one of the early entries into this race. Mr. Frederick, welcome to 104.1 The Truth.
JP, thanks so much.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question that I ask other people who are running for office, especially people who are running in a crowded field. Why you? Why have you decided that you would make a better sheriff than the other people who have jumped into this race?
Well, I am the only candidate of a former Pima County Deputy Sheriff. I know the intricacies, I know the issues, and I know the personnel that plague this department. The department is lacking leadership. When I become sheriff, when I'm once elected, I'm going to be running an efficient and effective program. We're going to get this department to prevent crime from happening instead of just responding to it.
Prevent crime from happening. So you have ideas that are proactive to put in place?
That's the bottom line. I started out this campaign, as you just mentioned, in December 2010, and that was before the tragedy of January 8th incident, and that was before the Korean SWAT shooting. I knew at that time there was a lack of leadership. There was a lack of leadership when I was in the department. The only time I saw Clarence Bubnick was once, and that's when he handed me my badge. The lack of leadership does not start from the elected official, Bubnick himself, but it trickles down because you are only successful as the people you surround yourself with. So the commanders, there's 3 assistant chiefs that make over $150,000 a year. They make the calls. He's too top-heavy on his captains. I believe there's either 6 or 8 captains. They make over $130,000 a year. And he's top-heavy on lieutenants and his administrative sergeants. Once elected, that's going to be cut because through attrition they're going to retire. I'm not going to fulfill those vacancies just to fill them. If there's a need, there will be a promotional process. But we're going to be able to save over $300,000, $500,000 initially from the retirement. That money will be used to hire deputies, to put them on the street, and to get a higher visibility.
So you already answered a question I was going to ask you, and that is, what would be the first thing you would do when you got in office? It sounds like you answered that in reshaping the structure of the office, you would put more officers on the street.
Well, let me just dovetail on this for a second, JT. Not only will I be able to put about 17 to 20 deputies on the street, but what's going to be also required for my commanders is that they take 8 to 10 hours a week in patrol themselves. They're going to be responsible for taking a call. They're going to be assigned a call. They're going to go make an arrest if one is warranted, take a report, and follow it through. What this is going to do is help keep the command staff not complacent, but in touch with the laws and how they change and how they're applied to make sure they're applied correctly. Not only that, if you have a captain that has taken a call and he comes up to a victim and says, "Tell me what happened," that victim is going to be more comfortable and more secure, and they're going to have more confidence in this department. That's also going to get more officers on the street. And I'm not talking about my command staff going to calls between 10 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. These commanders are going to work the peak crime hours, which is 1,800 hours or 6 o'clock at night to 200 hours in the morning. That's when they're going to be out there on the streets taking calls. And it's just not going to be in the Rincon district where the call logs are basically accidents and burglaries and some DV calls. We're talking the south side where the true crimes occur. We're talking the foothills.
Now talk like this, Terry. I already got you reading the sheriff. Talk like this, Terry, has to make some people inside of the office already uncomfortable. Do you have the support and the backing of your colleagues at this point?
I do, and part of the problem with this department is morale. There is a lot of political backlash, and they're afraid to do their jobs at certain times. They'll still do their jobs, but deputies are great at what they do. I am making reference to the command staff. If you're indicating that there's people that are afraid of my ideas within the department, those are the people that are going to have to retire. I'm not going to have a captain, a lieutenant, an administrative sergeant walk into work at 9 or 9:30 in the morning and leave at 3 o'clock in the afternoon after sitting behind the desk, not having to worry about what their training really enabled them to do. they're going to go out there, they're going to enforce the law, and they're going to get the respect from the community. And that's going to boost morale, because when you have a line officer on the street backing up a captain, backing up a lieutenant, that's going to boost morale. They're going to say, if he can do it, I can do it. And there's a teaching curve there too.
Terry, I'll tell you what, Terry Frederick, I ran out of time here, and I got more questions for you, so I'm going to have to arrange to have you on again, and I'm sorry for having to cut you a little bit short here. You are intriguing me, sir. We will talk again in the very near future. I'm talking about in a few days, okay?
Sounds good, JT. I appreciate your few minutes here, but I do look forward to finishing my message.
And it will happen. It will happen. I'm going to talk to you after the show. My friends, that was Terry Frederick. He's running for Pima County Sheriff.